Do you ever get into that kind of mood where you think life seems to be failing miserably, nothing's going right, people you want to be there aren't there, work's maybe a mess, your school's going wrong, grades, like just life in general, and you kind of stop and you think that you're not worth anything. You feel like there's nothing about you that's attractive or good in any way. I want to say that's not true. I promise you that pretty much whoever you are, that's not true. Every single person on earth has their strengths. Whether you see them or not, they are there. Because in reality, if you didn't have these strengths, then you probably wouldn't survive on earth that long. That is more or less, well, it's not the definition of evolution, but that's one of, like, the main points of evolution. Now, it may not always be obvious what strengths are. For example, you may not see certain things as strengths. It's only when you stop and really think about it that you realise that something is a strength. Like, I did this just before this video. I sat down and started to make a list of things I thought were my strengths. And it was bloody difficult. The first one, it took about 10 minutes before I actually came up with one. And it was that I make people laugh. It's a small strength, but you can't really start anywhere else unless you know yourself really well. But when you start to think about it, making people laugh is a big thing. You don't often appreciate how much some people need to laugh sometimes. I may not be the most, I may not give the best advice, or I might not be the most helpful person when it comes to dilemmas and problems and stuff. But sometimes people don't want that. Sometimes people want to forget their problems, which I think is what I'm good at. See? Just from that one strength, I make people laugh. It's kind of, you start to realise how important that is to some people. And once you start writing down your strengths, you realise how important you are to people. I would actually recommend to do that to everyone who watches this. Try and sit down and write out your strengths. It's fairly difficult, I know this myself, but, well, it depends on who you are really. If you are a published author, then that's a fairly big strength. But if you're like me and I'm just a lowly uni student who sits in a room talking to a laptop for about half an hour, then it can be quite difficult. You see what I mean? But yeah, write out your strengths, even if it's just make people laugh, or good at drawing birds. It's something, and then once you get into a flow, then lots of things start to come forward. And then when you do find yourself at the bottom, at the low end of the mood spectrum, it's easier, if you see what I mean, to climb back out of it, because you read what you know you're good at. When you're in that kind of mood, it's kind of difficult to believe what you've already written down, but if you've written it down already, then it's more solid than if you're just trying to think it through in your head. And then once they're down, you can do what I did and kind of balloon it outwards and show yourself that you are worth something, and that you can do something, and that you are good at things, which it's sometimes very difficult to realise. You are worth something. I promise you that. You are worth something to someone. Probably many people. It's good to remember, I think, that there is probably very, very little you could do that means that no one will care. I just want to say right now that there's very little you could do to stop some people caring at all. Like, I care. I care about everyone who is watching this video. I appreciate that so much, that you've come here to watch this video and like listen to what I babble about at 9:10 on an evening when I've just woken up from a nap and I'm not making very much sense. That's important to me. That makes me feel worth something. And so, yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with that, but I was basically wanted to try and help people to realise that they do mean something to life. Life wouldn't function the same if you weren't there. It's astounding how much of an impact one person can have on something, even if they don't feel that way in the first place. So if you think about it, me, the lonely uni student, if I changed one thing, for example, if I hadn't come to Newcastle and I'd gone to Southampton or something, that would have had a massive impact on the rest of the people who came back here. I mean, not even in a way they would realise, because obviously they probably wouldn't know me. It sounds kind of arrogant, but it's maybe not even so you have an impact whether it be good or bad. So you are worth something. Everyone's important in some way or other. That is how social interaction works. I mean, this has kind of been a fairly waffly video and I'm just sat on the floor. I don't know why I was sat on the floor. Maybe the floor's actually surprisingly comfortable. Yes, but yeah. I think the whole idea of this video, whether it's actually come across or not, is to make you stop and focus on how important you are and how much you're worth to people around you and to the functionality of the earth. So yeah, I'm not sure how to end this video, so I'm gonna say that yeah, try and do that thing I said about writing out all your strengths, and then you never know how it might help. Sometimes you never know when you might need it, and yeah, someone cares. There's always someone who cares.